Construction Coach here. Today we are going to make this concrete bird bath with 2.5 bags of 6,000 psi high strength concrete. This is an easy DIY project and I will supply you with an exact cutting list in the comments. Hard to believe this only costs $20 and some scraps. If you don't have scrap plywood, the pieces necessary can be cut out of a 4 foot by 4 foot sheet of 3/4 inch plywood. On a hot day at the cabin, little songbirds can cool off in this refreshing pool. I finished the bottom of the basin with a scrap piece of tile to create that clean look. Let's get started. Using the cutting list, cut your pieces of plywood and oil the plywood with some vegetable oil so the forms will release when stripping. Use 1.5-inch screws to build the 3 forms. Chase the corners when assembling. When the oil is dry, it's time to pour the base. Mix half a bag of concrete, pour into the form. I will use 1 piece of 10M rebar bent as a hook in the center of the form. The rebar will connect the column and basin to the base on the next pour. I've now stripped the base out. It's cured. It's been about 7 days. Here's my form, 16-inch by 16-inch with 3-inch sides, and I've just chased the corners all the way around. I'll supply a cutting list for that. So now that this is ready to go, I'm going to set this form up just in case I got extra concrete. I want to pour another base, but now I'm going to pour the column and the body for the bird bath. So I'll show you the forms, how it's going to go together. Then we're going to go outside, level this base, and pour the column and the basin. Now I've made this perfectly square, chase the corners around. I can put it on a 45-degree like that. I can square it up. Haven't really decided. Option 1. Option 2. I think this is how I'm going to pour the first one, with the box in line with that. Now, when I pour the column and the basin, I want to have a form for inside here. I found this old screw box, and I think when I pour this, I'm going to set this in like this or like this to create the area for the bird bath. I've got my base and I'm going to level it in the soil. This can be moved once the concrete is cured, but it is easier to set up in the location you want it. Make sure it is perfectly level. Mark lines on the base where the column will go and use clear silicone to hold into position. After, the silicone will peel off when stripping the forms 3 to 7 days later. Set the column form on top of the silicone, line up with the indicator lines. Then silicone the top outside edge of the column. Set top form on top of the column and let the silicone dry for an hour. Then you are ready to pour. Here is the concrete I use. Quickcrete PSI 6000 high strength concrete. I only use the 1 piece of rebar, so high strength concrete is necessary. Follow all water and mixing directions, because when you use too much water, that's when the strength of the concrete goes down. Ooh, the perfect mix. I will gently fill the form with the concrete. Once the column is filled, use a piece of rebar to agiliate the concrete and the top of the forms to make sure there is no honeycomb. Once near the top, insert your void form and fill to the top. I had never built this before and was not expecting the void to keep pushing up. Then I quickly decided to weigh it down to keep it in position. Use a putty knife to trowel flush with the top of the form. I will let this dry for a while, and then when the top is a little drier, I will use a broom to texture the top. The broom finish is nice, but I decided to wear through the top surface with my hand to get an exposed aggregate look. I just used some water and massaged the top surface until I wore it away. Now you can see the aggregate in the concrete surface. I will keep this wet for the next couple of days before stripping the forms. Water will slow the hydration process, leading to stronger concrete. After 2 to 3 days, it's time to strip the forms and see what we've got. Go slow to prevent any possible cracks. Then clean it off with some nice water. Now it's time for some final touches. I will use the void form container to trace the bottom on this tile. I will shape it to fit perfectly in the basin. Perfect fit at the bottom of the basin. Now some final shots. I'm loving this square design. 2.5 bags of concrete to pour another one for friends and family. The forms can be used over and over. Here's a quick picture of all the pieces required to put together for the 3 sets of forms. Look in the description for the full cutting list.